I have a tendency, I don't know if you have this tendency also, I have a tendency to look at the world and think how incredibly foolish people are. Now, these incredibly foolish people are some of the most intelligent people I've ever met. And that makes them even more foolish because incredibly intelligent people are not always thinking clearly. Incredibly intelligent people are often doing very, very stupid things. And Prabhupada often pointed this out to us. In one lecture I recently heard, Prabhupada said, they're all owls. Everyone is an owl. Everyone has their eyes closed. They don't see reality. And our position is to open their eyes. Sometimes Prabhupada would say, everyone is crazy. Now you could say, these are broad generalizations. Everyone has their eyes closed. Everyone is an owl. One time Prabhupada said, everyone is bad. So is it true everyone is bad? Everyone is crazy and everyone has their eyes closed. So everyone means the massive population. Obviously, there are a few people that see some things. Obviously, there's some people that are not so crazy. They're sober. They understand spirituality. And they are not so bad. But generally, most people, they're pretty sinful. And they're pretty ignorant. And when you put sin and ignorance together, you do crazy things. So why did Prabhupada point this out? Well, one reason was so that we could see what ignorance looks like. And so that we wouldn't engage in the same ignorance. Because if you think ignorance is not so ignorant, if you think something crazy is not so crazy, something bad is not so bad, maybe you'll do it also. Because after all, it's not so bad. After all, I'm just human. Prabhupada didn't want us to see it that way. No, they're bad. This is crazy. This is bad. This is ignorant. So sometimes, it's just my nature, perhaps I learned this from Srila Prabhupada from hearing him so much, I would get more and more clarity on how ignorant the ignorant people are, how ignorant ignorance is. I think you must have that experience. Sometimes you get, as you're understanding the philosophy, then you start to understand that you knew something was bad, but now you realize how bad it really is. And you knew something was ignorant, but now you realize how ignorant it really is. That's a sign that you're advancing. Now, it doesn't mean you become depressed. It doesn't mean you go crazy. It just means that you understand more deeply how bad it is. And that's good. And that's helpful. When we look at this world, when we see people engaged in material activities, if we see it as it is, that's good. Why is it good? Because it helps us detach. So I have a tendency, the way when I look at the craziness and the bad things people do and the ignorance, so I don't get depressed and go crazy, is I tend to make jokes of it. It's my nature. I can be very sarcastic sometimes. But I try to use the sarcasm in a transcendental way to show the foolishness of people. And when I do this, although you might think, well, should a devotee really do that? Isn't that condescending? And really what I'm doing is just clarifying the ignorance. And I find that the more I clarify the ignorance, the more I become detached. And so making fun or making jokes about materialistic people or the material world is really just a process of clarifying the ignorance in a way that we don't become depressed, but we actually become detached from it. So sometimes I talk with the devotees and I say, isn't this funny how people are doing this? And sometimes Prabhupada would make jokes. They're smoking a cigarette. The name of the cigarette is cool, but it's fire. And we see these paradoxes all the time, that people are doing things that doesn't make sense. It's quite foolish. And so even Prabhupada would make jokes sometimes. But what I find personally is in making those jokes, we actually become detached. We protect ourselves from being foolish, from making those foolish mistakes, which we are prone to do, just by looking at people and joking how foolish they are. Because sometimes it is amazingly funny how ignorant people can be, isn't it? I mean, it's Kali Yuga. There's a lot of ignorance. And seeing that ignorance, even if we joke about it, pointing it out, talking about it, it's very, very healthy. It really keeps us in our own spiritual world or spiritual practice very strong by disassociating from those ignorant activities, which if we were in ignorance, we would have done, and we did used to do because we were in ignorance. So just, being clear on what is ignorant, even if it means laughing at it, making jokes about it, how foolish people are, how hard they work, and at the same time we feel sorry. It's not that we're condemning them. We do feel sorry that they're engaged in these activities. We want to help them. That's our desire. But at the same time, we purify ourselves by clarifying that ignorance. It protects us from making those same mistakes that ordinary people make.